Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, Brian the Floridian. So today is Memorial Day, and today's a day to reflect and think about and remember all the sacrifices, the ultimate sacrifices that our veterans paid to ensure our freedoms and our liberties in this country. And today I'm going to be doing a dedication shave to remember all our vets. And in particular, this shave is dedicated to my great uncle, Richard Carr. So he was a private in the U.S. Army. He was a paratrooper, and he was in the 86th Airborne Division. So he basically fought in World War II, and he also perished in that war. So I never had a chance to meet my great uncle, but I just want to remember him on this special day. But razor I'm using is going to be a pre-war, early 40s, Gillette Fat Handle Tech, and I have this is one of the first techs, I believe. So first Fat Handle Techs. It's got the angular slots right there. I'm sure you see it on the bottom plate there. So this will be my razor I'm using, and I'm gonna be using first use of a Personna Platinum blade. And also for my brush, I'll be using my Semogue 1305 knot in my vintage Eveready C40 handle there. Restore handle, I'm not sure you can see that, but C40. And soap is going to be a special soap, and it's going to be Soap Commander Courage. So I picked this soap because of the courage that our American service people had when they fought for our freedoms and liberties, and for going into battle, the courage that they had when they paid the ultimate sacrifice. So appropriate soap for this appropriate shave. And guys, let me go ahead and wash my face. I've got about 2 days worth of growth, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, back for my first pass. Got my brush loaded with the Courage soap. Let me go ahead and do that first face lather here. Alright, so my great uncle, Private Richard Carr, he was a paratrooper, like I was saying, in the U.S. Army, 86th Airborne Division. And he's my grandmother's brother. My grandmother had 4 sisters, and he was the only brother that she had at the time. So growing up, before they were in college, he was in his 20s. Actually, he was 20 when he first went over to Europe. He joined the military. I think he joined the military when he was 19, but he was 20 when he passed away in World War II. And just from listening to my grandmother, her stories, and also from reading some papers that I found recently, he was dropped out of an airplane. He was paratrooping into Holland, I want to say under the cover of darkness, in October 7th, 1944, and he was mortally wounded on the way down. So he basically was shot and wounded before he even touched the ground. And he was an uncle that I never got to meet. Alright, that looks like a good lather right there. So I always think about him this special day. This day of remembering our veterans. I definitely always think about him, and think about all the courage and just the anxiety of just coming out of the airplane. Just not knowing where you're going and being dropped into behind enemy lines, but that's what basically happened to him. All right, let me go ahead to my first pass right here with the Fat Handle Tech and the Personna Platinum blade. So I learned a lot about my great uncle from my grandmother growing up. And when she passed away, my father inherited a lot of my grandmother's effects, her papers, all her stuff in storage. And my grandma was a little bit young. She was a little bit older than my great uncle. So she was, at the time, she was married, and I believe my father was born. He was a young boy, and I think even at the time that my grandpa was in the military, he wrote my great uncle a letter while he was stationed over there overseas. A young boy, when he wrote the letter to my great uncle. But I haven't seen the letter, but I saw a postcard, saying that, from my great uncle, that said saying that he received the letter and was going to write him back when he had more time. But anyway, after my dad passed away a couple years ago, I inherited a lot of my grandma's effects, and a lot of it included things I never knew about my great uncle. Letters to his girlfriend from when he was in the military. And at the time, I really didn't know a whole lot. The details from my, other than the stories my grandma told me, but I didn't really know the details. What airborne division he was in, or actually how old he was. But come to find out, when I went through all these papers, my grandmother found out he was 20 years old when he passed away. And he passed away 2 days, a day after he was shot. So he passed away on October 8th. Alright guys, let me go and rinse my face, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, first pass was really superb, nice and smooth. The soap, as always, Soap Commander is very slick, so I got a great first pass from that soap. Let me go ahead and do that second pass here. And going back to what I was saying a minute ago, so after my dad passed away, I got my grandmother's, a bunch of her personal effects, her papers, her letters, pretty much a lot of the stuff from my great uncle, including his Purple Heart. Yeah, I also got a letter from, I found a letter to my grandmother, her parents, from Franklin D. Roosevelt, sending his condolences about my great uncle's death. So that was pretty cool finding that. But the things I found were really, really interesting. Was the letters that he wrote back and forth with his girlfriend. I think they were going to be probably fiancé at one time. But also I got newspaper clippings from when he passed away. He had about 2 or 3 different newspaper clippings, and I put them in a picture before this video, so they're on there. And I also got the folded flag from his funeral. And I didn't know, but he was buried in Holland, which is now Netherlands. So after he was mortally wounded and he passed away, they decided to bury him in the Netherlands at Netherlands American Cemetery, which is like where a lot of veterans are buried from World War II. Also German and Americans and other countries. But he was buried there in a small village of Margraten, Netherlands. So one thing that kind of was a mystery is why he was buried there. My family, my grandmother never really told me why he was buried there. I think that's the custom thing to do when the World War II, when all the service people were starting to perish. They had no place really. They had to bury him there, I believe, as soon as possible. So that's why they buried him in Holland, which is now called the Netherlands. But definitely, I found his Purple Heart. I found some newspaper clippings. I found uh, telegraphs sending, from the military that to my relatives back then that, that he was wounded, and they would keep in contact with them actually. And it was kind of interesting because we think about cell phones, we can call each other and just text and say, hey, this is what happened. They had to wait several days to get news of anything back in the early 1940s. So my grandmother and her parents really didn't know the details until after he passed away After he passed away. Because the news was so far in between with the telegraph system they had. I gotta do this right underneath the nose here. Alright, so I definitely want to get all his stuff together and somehow maybe put it somewhere in a display case or something, just for remembering, just for his memory. So I'm trying to explore ways I can do that. Try to keep everything intact and everything, because all these papers I have are old. So, but I definitely want to keep his Purple Heart and his folded flag in a nice place to remember him by. All right, guys, that's the second pass, and that was a good pass. No nicks so far, so pretty good shave so far. Let me go ahead and wash my face. I'll be right back. All right, guys, back to my third pass here. So in the beginning of the video, I put some pictures of some of the effects I had from my great uncle. Not all of them, but some of the things that I found from my dad through my grandmother's possessions when they passed away. And I believe all her sisters passed away, so she was really my grandmother was really the oldest at the time, and she was like I wouldn't say head of the family, but I guess you can say that, because she kept all that stuff from my great uncle, so she had that stuff. So alright, so this soap is very slick, very nice soap. Alright, and I love this knot. This is a 1305 Semogue, and I didn't like the handle because it was a wood handle and it kept on chipping, so I put it in this resin Everready restored handle here. When I first got this handle, it was pretty grimy, so I cleaned it up a lot and took the knot out of the other handle for my Semogue and put it in this knot, in this handle. And so far it's working great. This is one of the best board knots you can find in the shave world, so definitely a great board knot. Alright guys, let me do that final pass. So today is definitely a day to reflect and remember all those who served and perished today. Not today, but perished in the past. And definitely a day that I take very seriously. And don't want to not forget the purpose of this day. I see like a lot of people are having like Happy Memorial Day and all these other celebrations, but really, it's not really a day of celebration. It's just a day to reflect. Just a day to remind us that, you know, that we had these freedoms because of our service members, all our American service members that passed away to ensure us these freedoms. So, including the freedom for me to make a shave video right now. Alright guys, let me do that last pass right here. So this soap's a kind of a it's interesting scent. It's very, to me it's not a really strong scent. It's probably about a scent strength of 5 on a scale from 0 to 10. And I don't know I don't know all the notes, but I know the main notes are peppercorn, citrus, and cedar for this Courage soap made by Soap Commander. But it has definitely a pleasant scent to it, but not really strong, but performance is awesome though. Alright guys, that's the shave. Let me go ahead and rinse, and I'll be back for the post-shave. Alright guys, back for the post-shave. So I'm using this, which is the accompanying aftershave balm, Courage by Soap Commander. So this has menthol in it, so let me go ahead and use this here. Shake it up. And Soap Commander makes great balms, by the way. So if you guys are looking for a great balm, definitely Soap Commander is the one to choose, one of the best ones to choose from. Alright, so that's my shave. And my recap, I'm going to be using, actually my recap, I used the Gillette Vintage Fat Handle Tech, early 1940s pre-war. And I used my First Use Persona Platinum blade. Great blade, nice, fine, sharp, forgiving blade. This is one of my favorite blades, probably my top 5. And for my brush was my 1305 Samog knot. It's in a ever-ready restored handle, so C40 handle, so vintage handle, and just a great knot, just a great brush. And that's it for my shave. And I just want to say you guys have a safe Memorial Day and an enjoyable day with your families. And definitely reflect back and also remember all the veterans that paid the ultimate price for our freedoms here. And I just want to say one more thing. Back on October 8th, 1944 was when Private Richard Carr passed away. And that was my grandmother's brother. So that was her only brother. And when his passing took a big chunk of her heart away, and just by listening to her stories, and also from my dad, just people in my family, you know, his passing left a lot of hurt in our family. And I was thinking about all the other families that lost a loved one from, you know, in combat. So definitely think about the families for on this special day. And just, you know, just Memorial Day is just remembering our American service members and also their families. But I just want to say you guys have a safe Memorial Day, and I will see you guys on the next shave video. I'll see you next weekend. Take care.